Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick, and today, guys, we're going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin, taking a look at what's been going on most recently, what we think is going to happen next, and all that wonderful stuff. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe? Tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will stay up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Now, if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, the link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. In the description, you'll also find a whole host of additional links, everything from BitGet to Bybit, all the way through to the Patreon services and many others. So if any of those are of interest to you, why not check them out as well? Okay, let's make a start though. Let's first of all talk about what is going on this week, right? So let's bring this up, the upcoming events this week. So yesterday we saw the Australian consumer confidence, the UK unemployment rate. Today we've seen the UK GDP year on year, and this afternoon or this evening we will see the US FOMC minutes, where there's going to be potential hikes in interest rates. And can you speculate around what's going on there? Are we expecting 75 basis points or not? And then tomorrow we've got the German inflation rate and the US inflation rate. Then basically on Friday the 14th we are going to have the China inflation rate and the US sales MOM. So essentially there's a lot going on this week, lots of things to fuel price movements, lots of volatility to be expected. So obviously today, the 12th of October, the UK GDP just came out. We can see that this has unexpectedly shrinks in August. I don't think that was unexpected at all, right? I think that was very much expected. If you're actually following things that are going on here, it's only unexpected if you believe the nonsense that some people are spilling. But essentially, the surprise 0.3% drop came after the economy growth of 0.1% in July. Well, at the end of the day, things are vastly different, and you can kind of see that these things are just kicking the can down the road, if you will. So for the most part, I was always expecting this to shrink. I'm expecting it to continue to shrink, and I am expecting a really bad recession, not just this year, but going into next year. At least here in the UK where I am, things are not that rosy. So this wasn't a surprise to me. Maybe it's a surprise to some of you guys. Maybe it isn't, I don't know. But basically, you can kind of see the idea. You get the idea here. Catalyst for change, essentially. So what's going to be the FOMC minutes later? Are we expecting a hike in the interest rate, 75 points, 100 points? Who knows what's going on there? Maybe they're not going to do any, right? Maybe there's going to be really positive stuff. Maybe there isn't going to be really positive stuff. All things are important because they have an impact on how people feel, which then ties us into how the Elliott wave theory tells us what is going on. Okay, so Elliott wave theory tracks people's behavior within the markets. Things either move in 3 waves or 5 waves. Sometimes they can be dissected down a little bit deeper than that, but for the most part, we'll keep it real simple and say it's 5 waves or 3 waves, and moves in both directions in 3 or 5 wave structures. And it basically tracks how people are emotionally reacting in the markets. Okay, essentially, right? So what we've kind of got here with BTC is this 5 wave drop to the downside complete, and we're looking for 3 waves up. So whatever happens on the back of the FOMC minutes, I'm expecting upward direction, not necessarily downward direction. So it'll be interesting to kind of see. Maybe there's going to be a move up. Then, as this news actually comes in, we break down. So, for example, we go up before the minutes are released. We then go down after. And then after that, maybe we come back up, because I'm looking for 3 waves up here, right? I'm looking for an A, B, and C, or WXY, depending on how you want to do things. And essentially, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for 3 waves. Why am I looking for 3 waves? I'm looking for 3 waves because we've had 5 down. You have 5 down, you always expect 3 up, okay? Now, that can be 5, 3, 5, but it will be wrapped up as an ABC, okay? So it's 3 waves regardless. That's kind of what we expect after 5 waves like this. And then once that is done, I'm expecting 5 waves down after that, okay? So nothing's rosy here. And just so for the reference, right, a lot of people don't like it when I say it, but, I am still expecting new, all-time lows, if you will, or new lower lows, as they say, from the June. Okay, and people might say, "Oh, the bottom is in," right? And people say this to me all the time, and I do think to myself, "Well, that's great, that's fantastic," but I do want to just pull your attention over to here. This is Cardano. This is a new lower low. So if the bottom was in as the bottom in only for Bitcoin, maybe altcoins aren't bottomed in? You know, where do you draw the line? I'm just interested to know. Let me know in the comments below. If you believe the bottom is in, do you believe the bottom is in for all 21,000 altcoins? And in which case, Cardano just broke that analysis. And if you are saying that's just Bitcoin, altcoins can do whatever, then, well, you know, we have to think about what leads the market. Why are altcoins pulling back even more when Bitcoin hasn't, and so forth? What's supporting Bitcoin at the moment? And what's going to create Bitcoin to pull back down even deeper, and all that kind of stuff? Now, you know, that's kind of where we sit with Elliott Wave theory on our hourly chart, right? We're looking for this progression to the upside. Now, this yellow box area here, I do need to adjust it ever so slightly. So let's go ahead and take this local bottom here and pull that up to the top. In fact, I'm going to do it the other way around. I'm going to start from the top of wave 1 just here. And I'm going to go down to this bottom of the wave 5 here. And I'm just going to adjust this because we had gone down a little bit lower since I actually drew this yellow box in. So I'm just going to adjust it into here. Okay, this is basically going to be between 50 and 88.2% retracement of this entire 5-wave structure under a 3-wave move, basically 19,650 to 20,277 approximately. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking. Now we can have it like this. Okay, it doesn't have to be massive, just has to touch this yellow box in my opinion. Okay, so it can be anywhere really within this kind of area here. Okay, so do expect some volatility and do expect there to be some interesting moves with Bitcoin. Let's talk stochastics. Okay, so the stochastic RSI on this hourly chart is overbought, so we're going to expect some volatility, right? However, we are looking actually pretty good across some other time frames, right? We can start to see my little indicator here on the right-hand side that we're overbought on the 1 hour. The 4 hour, we're actually just coming out of the oversold area. The 8 hours oversold, the daily's oversold, the weekly, not so much, but the monthly is as well. So it's looking like we need to have some kind of bigger move to the upside. If I come over to the 4 hour here, you can see that we're just progressing out right now, and we've still got plenty of room to grow there. On the 8 hour, we're still right the way down here, and our daily is also down in the oversold area. The weekly obviously has quite some progression to the downside to be had as well. So for the most part, we actually could be looking at a pretty decent move to the upside. Now, anyone who is looking for this indicator here, as I said previously, this is a Patreon only indicator. You can't search for this in TradingView. This is an invite only, so join us down in our Patreon services and you'll get access to this and you can add it to your charts. It's really handy, so you don't have to flick through all the different kind of time frames, just to get a good overview of where the stochastic RSI is. On that note though, this is not a standard stochastic RSI. This one here uses the 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗡 setting rather than the standard close setting. Okay, so from here by default it's under close like this, and it changes the stochastic RSI based on closed position of the candles. And I actually have this on 𝗕𝗪𝗔𝗡, which basically takes the average of the candle, which means it takes into consideration the wicks in upward and directional levels, as well as the high and the lows, and divides it all by 4 and allows you to know that the actual stochastic RSI here is calculated on an average line running through the price rather than just the closed or open positions. So my indicator here on the right hand side, this is calculating in the same way. So you can't just have one without the other, make sure that they're all in sync and telling you the same thing. Okay, cool. So that's kind of what's going on there when it comes to BTC on terms of the price action. I'm expecting, you know, a 3-wave structural move to the upside, but since we haven't finished one of these waves yet, it's really hard to say exactly where things are going. So just keeping a close eye. There's a bit of a double top coming in right now, so maybe a little bit of volatility right in there on the micro scale, but I'm not overly too concerned about it. Now, if I come up and I bring up our actual Glassnode data, we can see things have been vastly changing. Now, I do want to kind of call out the obvious that whatever problem has been plaguing the Ethereum data, as in this is absolute garbage data and is not telling us the truth anymore, it changed on us and still it remains the same. This problem also seems to have now spilled over into, yep, that's right, Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's now had some fluctuations here. I mean, if we take a look at this yesterday, okay, on the 11th of October, it tells us that 47,000 Bitcoin left the exchanges and 26,000 Bitcoin went onto the exchanges, which is really interesting because we know that is not necessarily the case. If I come over to here, for example, this is Bitcoin on exchanges, a balance of Bitcoin on exchanges, and you can see this is a line graph. Day on day, this decreases. Okay, we go from 2.423 million, okay, down to 2.407. So how can the outflows increase like this, you know, dramatically? It doesn't make sense. And then over this side here, we've got a little bit more. And if we come over into the wallets, we start tracking, okay, well, where does it go? You've got a little bit of an uptake here and a little bit of uptake here. And then you kind of got coming out here. We've got a little bit of uptake there. So maybe it is accurate, maybe it's not accurate, not overly sure. But I'm not liking the fact that these inflows and the outflows on both Ethereum and Bitcoin are so rapidly changing day on day. And those are not subtle changes. They're not making a lot of sense to me. So kind of keep a close eye on it. It's possible this is correct at 47,000 leaving the exchanges yesterday with 26,000 going on. Just seems very, very unusual. And I'm very skeptical over everything now when we have this data changing as well. That being said, though, if we actually do take a look at these wallets, we can see that shrimps are increasing, which is good. So 906,899 now. Our dolphins have accumulated on this recent pullback as well, so that's looking pretty good at 150,909. If we come over to the whales, we can see here that there's a slight uptick on the sharks, but otherwise they've been decreasing. The whales have been static, and the krakens have been static. So basically here, the wallets that have over 1,000 Bitcoin are not participating, and everything at the moment is really just from sharks or from retail investors. So keep a close eye and an interesting one at that on those movements. I do expect some volatility if these guys are jumping in and pushing price around a bit today. But just be aware, the inflows and the outflows, I'm not confident on these numbers at the moment. Hopefully that will change. And right now we can see a little bit coming off here and a little bit coming off there, which is good. And we can obviously see some changes here, about 300,000 or so. So things are changing quite rapidly in the space, but not necessarily correct. So I'm just going to be a little bit cautious on that, like we have with Ethereum here. I know this one is wrong, so we have to obviously be taking that with a pinch of salt and paying close attention to everything that is going on with a little bit more detail, so that we can be confident in the numbers that we're talking about. Ultimately, though, my expectations are a move upwards, so do expect those outflows to actually increase, hopefully. But if this pump is to be exit liquidity for the whales, then they would continue to de-risk, and we'd see that pretty apparently as well. Okay, new lower lows, I do think is something that we should be talking about at some point soon. Don't think we're necessarily there just yet, though. I would expect this to be a big drop to the downside at some point, so let's go ahead and bring this down for a second. Here we can see on the scaled out version of this that I would look at this as a potential move down towards 16 or 15,000, which, yes, that would be a new lower low. So I want to be a little bit aware that, we're right now potentially tracking the beginning parts of this, where the next move down after that 3-wave up would be a larger 5-wave structure, potentially going down. Okay, so just keep a close eye on it. But otherwise, Bitcoin right now is going to be a fun day. I think we're going to see a lot of volatility. I think there's going to be lots of fantastic trading opportunities out there. And so do pay attention. And other than that, guys, I will leave the video right there. If you found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe? Tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.